Well, good morning or good day or whatever it might be whenever you're watching this. And today is a good day because this morning God reached down and tapped us on the shoulder and woke us up. And no matter what's going on in our lives or even in our world, we can be confident that God's with us because He promised He'd never leave us or forsake us. And He's not surprised by anything. He knows everything, so He's not up there wondering what to do next. See, because He knows every path, and He knows the path in each one of our lives through what we have to navigate right now. And if we could just trust Him and lean into Him, we'd hear that still small voice that leads us and tells us which way to go, what to do, what to say, or maybe even that we just need to be still for a little while. And I know that in my life when storms come up, I get discouraged and I'm not sure what to do. And I'm wondering where God is sometimes. And all of a sudden, He shows up and He starts moving. And I get so excited about it. And I can't help but think of Peter. When he and the disciples were on that ship in that storm, and Jesus comes walking on the water toward them. And Peter looks and sees Him and basically says, "Lord, let me come out there. Let me come out there to you." And Jesus tells him, "Well, come on." So Peter gets excited and Peter gets out of the ship and he starts walking. And Matthew chapter 14, verse 30 tells us, "But when he saw the wind, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, 'Lord, save me.'" And there's something really interesting about that verse to me, and here's why. Most of my life, I've heard the story, and I hear this aspect of it. Peter took his eyes off the Lord, and he absolutely did. But when you look at translations from the original language of that phrase, something interesting, there's several that pop up. One of them was seeing the wind in control. And another one, which I happen to like, is seeing the wind charging. This was a rough wind. This was a rough sea. And so it wasn't just that Peter took his eyes off of the Lord. It's that he put it on something else. He saw what was going on and he looked at that. And there is a big difference between looking away from something and looking towards something or looking at something and putting our focus on that. And I know sometimes for me, it's hard for me not to put my eyes onto my circumstances. It's hard because sometimes it's rough. We all have those times. But what we focus on so often dictates what we feel about ourselves, others, our circumstances, even our God. And we can start to think, where is He? Does He not see? Has He forgotten? Or even worse, that He hasn't and He just doesn't care? We know those things aren't true, but our emotions will skew that based on what we're focused on. And we struggle and we're vulnerable. And in John chapter 16, Jesus was talking to His disciples and He's telling them again, look, I'm going to have to go away to my Father and you're going to mourn and you're going to weep, but your mourning's going to be turned into joy. He's trying to encourage them. He's trying to prepare them, but He's trying to encourage them at the same time. And He reiterates that several times during that chapter. And one of those times He even says that it's going to be a tough time and they're going to mourn, but you're going to see me again. I'm going to see you again, and your joy won't be able to be taken away from you. In John chapter 16, verse 33, the last verse of that is one that most of us know, most of us have heard most of our lives, and we grab to it in tough times. And it's this: I've told you these things so that in me you can have peace. In this world you'll have trouble, but take heart, I've overcome the world. And people gravitate to the second half of that verse about, yeah, you're going to have trouble, but take heart, I've overcome the world. And that is a great promise. It's a wonderful promise, and it's true, and we should hold to that. But for me, I happen to like the first part of that verse better. I like when He says, I've told you these things so that in me you can have peace. He's telling the disciples what's going to happen, and he has shared so much with them already, and He's going to share more. But He tells them, look, there's a reason I'm telling you all of this. So that when the storms rise, when you have trouble, you can have peace in me. You can remember what I've said to you, and we have His word. We have His promises to us. We can go and read those things. And He's still saying, I'm telling you these things so that you can have peace. So make sure that no matter where you walk it today, maybe you got up and you're facing the day and you're saying, today I'm going to follow my Savior. I'm going to walk where he walks. I'm going to do what he wants me to do. I'm going to be more than a conqueror. I can guarantee you that the enemy is going to throw everything he can in your path to get you distracted, to get you to look away at something else. And when the wind starts howling and the waves are just raging around you, and maybe you get a little distracted momentarily, be careful where you put your focus. Because if you put your focus and attention on those storms, you're going to be vulnerable to sinking. But here's the great thing. God is still on the throne. God is still in control. And he's got you and me and all of us in the palm of his hand. So rest easy. He's told us these things so that in him we can have peace. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.